Isn't he a much bigger threat to the royal family than Andrew? Because whereas Andrew has destroyed himself, Meghan and Harry still have a long way to go before they completely self-destruct.
He's finally looking at that woman, Meghan Markle, with the side eye like, it's your fault. You're the reason.
The Sussex Overdrive is unbelievable. But I mean, I don't think that he is going to get back in. That she actually sort of fueled his grievances. What happened until he met Meghan, he was quite happy in Britain. He sometimes obviously frustrated about not being able to land a stable relationship with a woman.
Tom Bower just dropped something that left the room speechless. And it wasn't about Meghan, it wasn't about the crown, it was about Harry. He said Harry is a man who surrendered everything, his brother, his circle, his homeland, his very sense of self, and is only now beginning to grasp the full weight of what he threw away. Think about that for a second. Harry was third in line, now fifth, a fully titled member of the most recognized royal family on the planet. His ambitions were never about money. He had more than enough. The wealth was there, the global fame was there, the adoration was there. Meghan, on the other hand, according to Bower, was chasing all of it. The spotlight, the applause, the kind of worldwide recognition that, ultimately, she never managed to reach, because the talent simply wasn't there to back it up. And here is the part nobody dares to say in polite company, but Bower says it without flinching. Harry was not a man who got pulled in against his will. He made a choice. He walked into this with both eyes wide open, and that is precisely what makes this whole story so much more disturbing than most people are willing to admit. Because the man we're watching today, cut off in California, shut out by William, financially battered by 2 collapsed Netflix deals, pushed out of the very charity he built, that version of Harry, he simply did not exist before Meghan. This was never just a love story. According to Bower, this is the story of a woman who knew exactly what she was walking into and exactly what she needed to take from it.
I mean, Harry, if you are what he was, the third and now the fifth in line to succession, and you're a member of the royal family, your ambition isn't clearly material. I mean, he had all the money he needed. He had all the fame he needed. He had the applause he needed. The point about Meghan is she was looking for fame. She was looking for applause. She was looking for international recognition, which, of course, she failed to get because she had not enough talent. She undoubtedly manipulated him and used and exploited his weaknesses. But you've got to put the other side of this, that he, on the other hand, couldn't find an English woman who wanted to live with him. I mean, they all fled because of his depressions and paranoia. And here is a woman, Meghan, who was his safety net and provided what he thought would be the mollycoddling and the love and security he was desperately looking for.
Let's rewind to where this all actually started, because the warning signs were present from the very first moment, and the people who knew Harry best could see every single one of them. Now, the turning point Bower identifies isn't the Oprah sit-down that shook the world, it isn't the memoir, it isn't even the decision to pack up and leave for California. According to Bower, the moment that changed absolutely everything happened quietly, away from cameras, away from headlines, at a shooting weekend at Sandringham. This was shortly after Harry first introduced Meghan to his inner circle. Not palace officials. Not courtiers. His actual friends. The ones who had been by his side for years. The kind of people who look straight past your title and see the person underneath. And what happened that weekend? According to the sources Bower spoke to, Meghan didn't ease in. She didn't observe. She spent those days correcting people, challenging jokes she hadn't approved of, shutting down humor she personally didn't like. These weren't strangers she was talking to, these were Harry's closest, most loyal people, and she walked in and immediately began telling them how to behave.
I think the Meghan Markle I know is on the good side, intelligent, resourceful, definitely resilient under fire, but on the other hand, intensely selfish, only self-opinionated, unable to see anything other than through her own lens, as she would say, appalling treatment of her father and her friends, old friends, a very conflicted personality. But worst of all for her is that she couldn't find huge fame and fortune on her own accomplishments. Her problem is she has very limited talent.
But here's what Bauer says was really going on beneath the surface that weekend. This wasn't simply a case of someone making a clumsy first impression in an unfamiliar setting. No, according to Bauer, that weekend was the moment Meghan made something absolutely clear. She had zero interest in fitting into Harry's world. She wasn't there to adapt, to blend in, to earn her place among the people he loved. Her expectation was far simpler than that. Harry's world needed to vanish, and her world needed to take its place. And that is exactly what happened. Because within a matter of months, not one single person from that Sandringham shooting weekend received an invitation to the wedding dinner. Not one. Every last one of them, people who had stood by Harry for years, through everything gone, erased, just like that. No conversation, no explanation, no farewell. One day they were his closest friends, and the next they simply ceased to exist in his life. And if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the dynamic that was already forming behind closed doors, then what Bauer says next certainly will.
Nuts. This is one of the text messages his friends were sending around to each other after Meghan's first introduction to Harry's friends in 2017 during a shooting weekend at Sandringham. It didn't go very smoothly, you say. You describe her challenging anyone whose conversations clashed with her values and taking issues with jokes about sexism and feminism. I mean, the kind of jokes you'd hear from a bunch of boys that have known each other since they were younger. Harry's friends reportedly felt that she repeatedly reprimanded them and called her a real dampener of the party, to which I would say to you, and this is the woman trying to teach us how to entertain on Netflix.
And when they tried to reach him, really reach him, the way old friends do when they sense something is wrong, the number was dead. Disconnected, gone without a word. No message. No heads up. Nothing. And Bauer is very clear about what that actually means. That is not a man exercising free will. That is not someone who sat down, weighed his options, and made a considered decision. According to Bauer, that is a man who has been so thoroughly hollowed out and rebuilt around someone else's agenda that he no longer even registers what he is losing. He can't see it anymore. Bauer puts it in plain, unflinching terms. Meghan became a wedge, a force that divided Harry from everyone and everything he had ever known. To keep her happy, Harry turned his back on his oldest friends. The quiet irritations she carried became causes he adopted as his own. The minor frustrations became full-blown obsessions. The grudges she nursed became his personal crusades. Simple dislikes curdled into something far darker, a passionate, burning hatred for people and institutions he had once loved. And the man who existed before all of this, the fun-loving, easygoing lad about town, that's Bauer's own phrase, he simply disappeared. What stepped into his place was someone his closest friends could barely bring themselves to recognize. Someone wearing Harry's face, but carrying someone else entirely inside.
And if nobody has told you yet, subscribe. Because we cover this story like absolutely nobody else does.